Hello, I'm Merle Rutledge, and I am the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia for the Republican nomination. I don't like to waste time or hold anyone up with gimmicks. The American people and the Virginia citizens deserve better out of all of us. I'm not a politician and never will be one. What is happening in D.C. will affect Virginia in a very negative manner. Unlike what we have seen before, and I will only discuss how it will affect Virginia. Whether it be the $2,000 stimulus check, minimum wage increase, or your federal refund during this pandemic. First, I'll tell you quickly how the $2,000 check was all a lie after Democrats was elected through questionable methods in Georgia. Biden had promised a $2,000 stimulus check would be out the door as soon as Congress got into session, and Democrats held the majority in both houses for victories in the Georgia runoffs. However, today there is no longer a discussion about the $2,000 stimulus, and now what was supposed to be immediate is being delayed. The same minimum wage increase that they are trying to pass by reconciliation could have been done for this stimulus. Their priorities are not focused on you, your family, or your business. Senator Munchkin let the cat out the bag that the 2000 stimulus checks could not happen, and he was right before the Georgia elections. However, his party told him to shut up so it wouldn't cost any votes in Georgia. However, today, you no longer hear about the stimulus checks or the $1 trillion stimulus package, but you hear more about a $15 minimum wage. The problem with this minimum wage in Virginia is if it is enacted into law by federal law, businesses will stop hiring. Jobs will be limited, even to fast food. Some businesses will shut down without notice, just like the Christian site and others places where people find out their last day is when they try to go to work that morning. Virginia's economy and small businesses will have to target people for termination, furthering unemployment claims, which is the last in Virginia is the last in processing nationwide in the whole country in Virginia. Prices on basic goods and supplies will increase. For example, a gallon of milk, which would normally cost you $2 to $3, will become $5 to $7 as a standard retail price. The typical dollar store that you normally shop at will cost you $2 to $3 per item in order to cover costs for employees and the business to stay afloat. Businesses would then rather you be terminated for no cause and have the unemployment claims handle your pay. Instead of making $15 an hour, you would be hoping the VEC pays you the maximum at $387. Virginia has not enacted any legislation to increase the maximum allowed for unemployment above $387. This means that you will begin $387 per week, but your price to pay for basic household goods and services will increase. That means if you're already struggling with the 387 max or whatever unemployment that you get at this time period, you will be paying more for the same products and services without a job to further that. Instead, you will be getting paid the same amount at 387 instead of $15 an hour because businesses can't afford to hire. Now, small businesses will shut down at record levels here in Virginia, which normally hires those that have already a hard time finding work. Yes, $15 an hour sounds great if you can find a job to pay $15 after this legislation is enacted. However, if you can't find a job or become unemployed, you'll be dealing with an increase in prices, but with barely enough money to buy basic necessities. If unemployment is barely getting you by now with prices the way that they are now, imagine when prices skyrocket. Because companies have to find a way to stay open and pay the few employees that they have left. You are looking at the death of small businesses and probably looking at the worst economic doom for parents to feed and take care of their families. Virginia will suffer massive unemployment, worse than ever the pandemic can cause at this time. Right now, the stimulus for $2,000 isn't being discussed because it's tax refund season. Now, there's more of a problem here with that part. It is now being reduced to $1,400, which is not the promise that Biden made of $2,000 going out the door. All these promises made by politicians are not being kept, people. Many of you are excited. However, in that excitement, you are paying off debts and loans only absorbed because you've been out of work because of this pandemic. However, in that excitement that you may think is coming from those tax refunds, there is more to this picture. The net gain is extremely limited if you took out loans because you've been out of work and likely out of a job that pays off of those loans. So a loan for $1,000 at this time period is probably going to cost you $2,000 plus owe back to pay off with extremely high interest rates. This is the perfect storm of the death to small business in Virginia and across this country, hit hardest by the COVID disaster to include our families. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, business owner or private citizen, Virginia is heading for economic collapse that will reach the poorest of households already struggling to stay afloat. I cannot lie to you. You must hold these politicians accountable for what they say that they are going to do. I know so many of you are calling the news, radio, being online, posting messages of concern, trying to get answers about how you're going to survive and what happens to those promises made when these politicians were campaigning and using you for a vote. Most of them been bought off and told not to cover what is really going on here in America because it affects them in a re-election. However, your life is being affected every single day by their decisions. Politicians don't care. They are guaranteed their paycheck no matter what, while you lose your home, car, and life savings that you worked hard for. We must stop voting on empty promises, people, regardless of race or background. We must start holding these politicians accountable, regardless of their party or their affiliation, but more so being about what's in the best interest of this country and your family. I have a plan to fix this mess in Virginia. It starts with making sure those small businesses and those looking to work and take hold of a future that last year was made uncertain through this pandemic. Virginia has failed this stress test over and over again, and it's your small business and your family being harmed first, not them politicians or their lobbyists. They claim that you had a voice and they will listen to you. The problem is, when had you received a response back? When had these politicians told you you would get out of this mess that they created? Now they want businesses and more to be open. Nothing about last year, and now is any different during this pandemic at the same time. The same amount of cases, the same amount of people dying, the same amount of people being told to have fear and be masked up was the same last year as it is right now, no different. The pandemic doesn't affect politicians. It has been affecting you. You, the American citizen, and you and your business and your family and your life savings. This is not the time to be silent while your family starves, but to demand answers from your representatives about the promises that they made and they are not keeping at this time. They had you out of work and you suffering for pennies a day with that $600 that they gave you for months of ignorance and incompetence. They care about you, the American people, over their own party or their own wallet. I guess like Capital One, I guess people have to wake up to the fact of saying, what is in my wallet? They all believed in these politicians when you gave them your vote. However, those beliefs are overshadowed with this new reality. Stop voting for a name or someone's party right now. Begin the process of doing what you should have done in 2020 and before. You need to put your family and small business first. Your race will not be a bargaining chip for your bills, for the courts, or for your survival. I doubt you can go anywhere, any place that you owe money to, or a place that you got a loan from, or any of your bill collectors and say that your race is able to buy you time at a time frame where they are not trying to hear it. I guess it only matters when it's convenient for them. The news isn't covering the reality of American family struggles at this time. But guess what? Didn't they cover the news of us destroying one another? The division wasn't done by us. It was planted and created and manufactured against us. All I'm saying is find out for yourself. Did your vote truly matter given your current situation right now? You have to look at the reality. How am I doing right now based off the decisions made in D.C. and Richmond? That's the thing we have to start looking at, people. See, I don't run for office and I don't run from you. I only can tell you the truth and give you the reality of this situation. We all gotta wake up. Because right now, if we stay asleep, the reality is we are the ones who are going to suffer. Those politicians don't care anything about us or our issue. They care about us being loud when they want us to be loud, and want us to be silent once they want us to be silent. The fact is, when you look at your family and household, when you talk to your friends, strangers, or neighbors and see how they are doing throughout this whole pandemic, and they will all tell you, I'm uncertain about how tomorrow's going to be, and they all saying, when will Democrats and Republicans act in the best interest of you, the American people? Because if they was acting that way, it should have never taken that long, even for that $900 billion relief. And you take each and every single day you have been out of work since this pandemic has started, ever since your business has been closed and shut down. Look at how much that amounts to each day, and they expect you to survive off of that. That's because they are okay. The question is, will you be okay? And that's why I'm telling you the truth today. And hopefully you wake up and decide on the fact that we must go in a different direction and we must ask for guarantee and those who make promises to make sure that they are kept. My name is Merle Rutledge, and I am running to be the next Virginia governor for all people, poor or rich. It's not about who we support. It's about who we are. Regardless of the situation, you must hold us all accountable in D.C. and Richmond. Because right now, whether they are Democrat or Republican, they are not going to the real America today that the media doesn't cover. They don't cover the evictions. They don't cover the drug overdoses. They don't cover the suicides. They don't cover all these different issues that are going on today. And right now, they don't care. It's all about who pays them off, and that's exactly what side of the fence that they jump on. But if you was getting evicted out of your house, you was having your car towed, you was losing your job, I guarantee you called the news. I guarantee you tried to reach your representative. Did they get back to you? Did they tell you? Did they have a plan to correct the wrong? No, they didn't. They got what they wanted from you. And it's about time you get exactly what you want out of them. And I'm going to continue, regardless of how this campaign goes, to keep being your voice and keep applying pressure and action towards the issues that really matter. And that is for you to take care of your family. My name is Rutledge. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.